how the seller of this property lost over $1 million, and how you can protect yourself. If you're considering purchasing or buying without a real estate agent and you think it's gonna save you money, I've got a story for you. I just recently sold a commercial piece of property. The seller listed the property on his own for around $600,000. A buyer came along and said, wait a minute, are you selling the actual business for $600,000 or the building and the property? The seller said, no, I'm not selling the business. It's a bowling alley and nobody's been using it for years. I'm selling the property and the building. So the buyer buys it right up. He strips the bowling alley and sells everything out of it. Then he turns around and lists it for just under 1.5 million. My buyer comes along and says, hey, I want to see this building. I take him into it. You can't even build this for under $2 million anymore. They don't build these types of buildings anymore. I want to make an offer. So we go under contract and I start doing some digging. I find this property has an expired failed permit for the AC. This is actually a big deal for a buyer and a seller and a hassle. And it can cost a lot of money to get these permits up to date. Called the listing agent and he was unaware of it as well. And so we started doing some digging and finding out how much this was going to cost. So we're getting close to the closing date and the listing agent and the title company are making sure that we're closing on time. I'm not gonna let my buyer have to take on such a huge burden without some type of compensation. I call my buyer and I give him the options of what he can ask for and what he can do. By the time we closed, which was on time, I saved my buyer an additional almost $20,000. We ended up settling around $1.2 million and my buyer was able to purchase it for less than it would be to build it and on a prime piece of property. This is why it's really important to have agent representation. If my buyer would have bought this property without knowing there was an expired permit that never passed inspections, he would have had a major headache on the other end and would have had no compensation and recourse for it. That means the original seller lost almost $1 million because he decided to sell on his own without representation from a real estate agent. He didn't understand what it was that he had. When you're a seller or you're a buyer and you're negotiating on your own behalf and you're going up against an agent who does this every single day and understands the markets, the in and outs, the contracts, how to negotiate, more than likely you're going to lose. You need representation to make sure you're getting the most money out of your sale or the best deal on your buy. You don't want to go in blind. You need someone that represents you.